Hey friends, my name is Oleg, this is Mr. Bond, welcome back to the YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to do a full review of a Seiko 5 reference SNK809. This is probably the cheapest automatic watch that Seiko makes. I bought mine for 50 bucks, I think it was 53 US dollars from Amazon during their Black Friday week sale, so I bought it a while ago. I've tested it for about a month, wore it, and now I'm ready to do my review. Now it's difficult to do a review of a watch like this because everything that has to be said about this watch has been already said. A lot of people bought this as their first automatic watch, and a lot of watch reviewers already did their reviews of this watch right here. So the way I'm going to do this video is going to be kind of two parts. The first part is going to be me doing the review, talking about specifications, case dimensions, give you close-up shots, the rest of it. The second portion, closer to the end, I'm going to talk about my feelings towards the watch and also how does it stack up against other watches in 2020. Mainly, how does it stack up against the Chinese specials in 2020? When this watch came out, it was undefeated king. Value for money, this was one of the best buys ever. Now in 2020, there are quite a few other watches in the same price category. So how does it compare to those watches? We'll answer all those questions. Now, let's start with the review of the watch first. And here's the legend, Seiko SNK809. Let's start the review by looking at the case dimensions on this watch first. So it has a 37mm case diameter. It's only 42mm from one lug to another. It has a lug width of 18mm and it's only 10.7mm thick. Here's what the watch looks like on my 7.5-inch wrist. Admittedly, I think it does wear small and it might be even a little bit too smaller for my size of a wrist. I wish it was a bit larger, maybe 39, 40mm. That would have made this a perfect watch. At 37, I would recommend this one to people with smaller wrists or people that have preferences for smaller watches. It is a very slim watch, so you will have no problem sliding this one under a cuff of any shirt or any winter jacket. I am in Canada and we had a bit of a cold winter, so it's nice to have a watch that can easily be worn with a winter jacket. It also has a very comfortable weight of only 60 grams. So first of all, let's look at the case and the case finishes. It is a stainless steel case with a bead blasted finish. I think this is the cheapest automatic that Seiko makes, and the finish is surprisingly good. So it's all bead blasted finish all over the case, on top of the lugs, on this bezel, except for the back of the case. So the back of the case is done in high polish. I guess that's where the savings come in. I think maybe it was a little bit too expensive and too complicated to bead blast the back of this case, so they left it in high polish. But the rest of the finish is done, I would say, exceptionally well if you consider the price of this watch. It doesn't have a sapphire crystal, of course. Seiko in this price category, you're not expecting sapphire, so you do get a flat piece of hardlex crystal. Not a lot of reflection on this crystal, so they did apply some AR coating. So many different people got into watch collecting thanks to Seiko 5 series of watches. And I think that's why a lot of people are so upset with the new Seiko 5 series, this SRPD series of watches, because they are priced too high to be that introduction, that first watch for a lot of watch collectors. There are just much better deals on the market right now. Well, this watch here represents everything right with the Seiko 5 series of watches. It represents great value for money, and that 5 on the dial stands for 5 different aspects of a watch. So first of all, it has to be an automatic watch, it has to be durable, it has to have a day-date complication, it has to have some kind of water resistance, this one having 100 meters of water resistance, and it has to have a recessed crown, usually at the 4 o'clock position. So this crown right here, it is a very tiny crown at the 4 o'clock position, and of course recessed, not signed, and it's a push-pull style crown, so it's not a screw-down crown. You pull it up as so. In the first position, you can change date and days of the week, and in the second position, you can change the time. So the movement powering this watch is a 7S26 automatic Seiko movement. It is not a hackable or hand-windable movement. As you can see, even with the crown in the second position, the seconds hand doesn't stop ticking, it continues to go on. Once we selected our time, we just push the crown back in place. So the 7S26 automatic movement, it is an outdated movement. This is the movement that you are finding in Seiko SKX watches, well now discontinued Seiko SKX line of watches. It has 21 joules, it beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour, has 41 hours of power reserve, day-date complication of course, and I think this is a perfect first watch, partially due to this display case back. I think for your first watch, it's really important to see that automatic movement, especially if it's your first automatic watch. Maybe you had a few quartz watches, maybe you had some digital watches before, but if this is your first automatic watch, it's kind of mesmerizing seeing that automatic movement, seeing the mechanism, how it works. It's not a very well decorated movement, it's not a particularly beautiful movement to look at, but it is really cool to see the movement in your first automatic watch. So a big thumbs up to Seiko for still providing a display case back, even in watches in this price category. This watch is available in a few different color combinations. However, this black version is my favorite. I really like the deep black dial. We have applied Seiko logo with the Seiko 5 shield closer to the 12 o'clock position. Not too much writing, just automatic and 21 joules. It says by the 6 o'clock position. I like the set of hands used in this watch. Sword style hands with a counterbalance lollipop and a red tip on the seconds hand. The seconds hand is slightly too short. I wish it was a little bit longer so it would reach out all the way out to the seconds running track. The minute and the hours hand I think are long enough. The marks on this dial are kind of interesting because this is a field watch, but it has a mixture of a Flieger and a field watch style dial. We have that Flieger triangle by the 12 o'clock position. We also have the minutes in 5-minute increments on the outer portion of the dial, and then we have the field style hours in the inner portion of the dial. So that's kind of interesting and unique, but I think it really works for this type of a watch. Also really like the date window being color matched to the dial. So they are done in black with white font. They just fit in so well into this dial, and the dial overall looks very balanced and very attractive. Kind of hard to do in watches that do have a day-date complication. I think Seiko did a fantastic job with the design of this watch. We expect Seiko watches to have great lume. I think we've been spoiled with Seiko diver watches. The lume on this watch is pretty good. It's not outstanding. Here's a lume shot for you. Of course, the Arabic numerals on the dial are not lumed, which is too bad. The only parts of the dial that are lumed are the set of hands, the lollipop on the seconds hand, and the little dots for our marks. The lume is pretty good, but it's not anything to brag over. The watch came on this nylon strap. The nylon strap quality is alright. It's not great, but it's not too bad. I mean, I wear it on this nylon strap and I quite like how it looks and how it feels on this strap. It has this brushed or bead blasted buckle and these loops to match the finish on the case. That's a nice touch, and also it is Seiko signed. That was the review part of the video. Now let's talk about this watch from my perspective. How do I like it? Well, I like it quite a bit actually. I think this is a great sports watch. I wore it a few times when I went skiing, when I went snowboarding, and I gotta tell you, this is one of the best watches for those activities. It wears really well under a winter jacket, under the snowboarding gear, so it's a very light watch. You don't really feel it on your wrist, and it is a pretty tough watch. Of course, it doesn't have a sapphire crystal, but other than that, it's a pretty tough watch and can take the beating. However, it does have some negatives. It's not a perfect timepiece. The crown is a little bit too small. I think that just comes with the territory. Seiko 5 watches are notorious for having tiny crowns. Of course, the crown is not signed. The Hardlex crystal, not a sapphire crystal, but in this price category, I think that's forgivable. The other negative is the movement. The Seiko 7S26 movement, no hacking, no hand winding, so those are big negatives. But I think by far the biggest negative for this watch is its size. It's not going to fit everyone, especially if you prefer large watches or if you have larger size wrists. This watch is simply going to be too small for you. It's great for people with medium to small size wrists, or if you prefer small watches. So with all those positives and all the negatives, how does this watch stack up against competition in 2020? So what is the competition? Well, let's start with the Chinese specials. So we have something like a Loriot watch, like a Pagani design watch, like a Courget, like Parnis. So there are a few different watches under $100 that offer similar or better specs. They usually are diver style watches, and usually they come in bigger cases. So I reviewed quite a few of these different watches. They have better movements than the Seiko 7S26. A lot of them have Miyota movements. A lot of them have even Seiko NH35 movements. So there are better specs than what this watch offers to be found on the Chinese specials, the AliExpress watches market. I think quality-wise, this watch wins. Also brand-wise, I think this watch wins. You can easily resell this watch, where with those watches, it's a little bit tougher to resell. Also, you do get warranty with Seiko watches, where you don't really get that much warranty with those watches. I mean, you do, but claiming that warranty is very difficult. And also, if brand is important to you, then obviously Seiko would win over those watches. Not to say that those watches are bad, they're great for what they offer, but out of the two, I would choose this. But then again, all the watches that I'm comparing this to are kind of diver style watches. There isn't anything really that is kind of a field style watch that would compete with this Seiko SNK809 in this price category. So I think in 2020, this watch is still definitely worth the money, definitely still worth picking up, especially if you're looking for your first automatic timepiece. I appreciate you watching this video until the end. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, that helps us out quite a bit. Plus you won't miss any more video reviews in the future. And leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what was your first automatic watch. I always enjoy reading your comments. By the way, today on my wrist, I'm wearing my Omega Speedmaster Automatic. I did a full review of this watch and I did an unboxing video for the watch. Both of those videos can be found on the YouTube channel. I will also leave links to them in the description below. Also in the description below, there are two other links. The first one is a secret link. The second link is a link to bondnativestraps.com. If you're looking for a good quality native strap and want to support this YouTube channel at the same time, buying one of these native straps is a good way to do so. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you guys next time.